Welcome to Tree Dog Tuesday, only on the Fueled by Joy Working Dog Podcast.
No, definitely not. Actually, some of them are. Some
Yeah,
of them are paying my
they
bills.
are. Ironically enough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tree Dog Tuesday, and we are here with Cody Moreland. Cody, how you doing, bud?
Man, I tell you what, if it was any better, I don't know what I'd do with myself.
I got a
Uh,
question for you.
uh-huh.
How freaking hot is it down there?
Well, it actually today was the first day I've turned my dog loose in probably a month and a half. It was 84 degrees and spitting rain, and it felt like a cold front. Uh,
Really?
man, I said, man, I gotta go. I gotta go. I took my pup. I got a young dog that's 13 weeks old. Tree and Kerr. Or, no, I'm sorry. Whoa,
Yeah.
back up. LMC original mountain cur. Uh,
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain that all to me
okay,
later.
yeah. So I can do it now or later, whichever. But
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and tell me how your hunt went first.
okay. So my dog, which he runs around the yard and keeps himself in pretty good shape, but
Mm-hmm.
he's not in tree shape, if you will. He's not used to running 500 to 800 yards as hard as he can, and then treeing for 5-10 minutes at a time. But he did good. Made two trees, held both of them. I don't know, probably average 5 to 10 minutes by the time I got in there to him.
Yeah.
Now he was laboring a little bit on that second one, but if it would have been any hotter, I don't know that I'd have probably got him in there. I was letting him stay treed on just easing around the Ranger, let my puppy teaching her to ride in the back of the Ranger, letting her wander around the woods, her being 13 weeks old, just experiencing life. But it went pretty good. Left him in there a little long. I looked for squirrels a little bit, but it's still green. Hell, it's hard to find them with the leaves off the tree. So,
Yeah.
but
Now I
yeah,
know I got it made up here in the summertime.
yeah.
But it was 88 when I turned loose last night.
Mm,
And that's
wow.
warm. I don't care where you're at, even if you're on the Missouri Iowa border, if you're in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. 88 at dark with no wind and a high humidity is hot.
No, no doubt.
But I knew it wasn't. That's the thing is we can skip nights up here. Now I'm hunting a young dog for J.R. Wall,
Hmm.
and he's paying me to hunt him, and I'm gonna hunt him.
Hmm.
That's the way it is. And that's good for these dogs to get out in this heat and test them, as long as you take all the precautions and all that stuff. But I knew tomorrow night, which is tonight, it was going to be 60s at dark.
Oh,
We were going to
wow.
have a cold front come through. We got some rain come through today. It only got up to 79 today, all day.
Nice,
Yeah,
man.
beautiful out. And
Yeah.
so I done some stuff out in the yard. I done some work. And then I'm thinking, it's going to be easy peasy tonight. We're not going to hunt crazy hard tonight. It'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
it'll be better tomorrow night. But I got to thinking about all my buddies in the South. I think Chris Collins hunting in Texas and Joe Manning and you know Atkins down there and Jesse Lively and Casey Dooley and all them guys hunting Louisiana. I'm thinking, how y'all do it?
Well,
These guys hunt hard still, and they try to get all their work in. What do you guys do when it's hot?
you know, speaking on my side of it, with being squirrel hunting, it is early in the morning, late in the afternoon, two
Yeah.
to three trees at the most. Don't want them to stay treed long. You're toting bottles of water. My dog
Hmm.
drinks out of a bottle. Uh, every tree, he's getting watered. And then I'd really watch him because, once they catch them heat strokes, They ain't coming back. Now,
No.
I got a few buddies, part timers, I like to call them, Austin Gentry. He yeah, I tell you what, man, him and Weed and Ward, they're hunting every night.
Yeah.
Snapchats. I mean, and here in North Mississippi, the last 3 or 4 days, my truck's been saying 100 to 101, and my buddy
Yep.
was working outside, and he sent me the heat index, which I work outside too, but at the time I was sitting in the air conditioner,
Yeah.
and he's
You're
like,
foreman?
and no, I work on the railroad. I'm like
Because I was
electrician.
a foreman. I went from being a lineman to a foreman,
Uh,
and there's a big difference between a lineman in the heat and a foreman in the heat.
well, ironically enough, I'm the laborer, I'm the paperwork person, I'm the boss, I'm the grunt. I do it all.
Yep.
But anyways, it's heat index been like 107, 108 with
Oof.
humidity and no air, like no wind. It's just hot.
Yeah.
But I don't I do feel like it's a little bit easier because at least at night, and I say easier, I mean ain't none of it easy, but at night at least it's down in the 80s,
Yep.
70s, very
Yeah,
rarely is it in the 70s.
and from a guy that's out during the day and night, and well, here lately I've just been mostly out at night. It's a different heat in the dark, especially
Yeah.
up here where we got all this corn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
Like
bet it's not no air
you
moving
can't
there.
you can't turn them dogs loose into a standing cornfield this time of year. And them guys love them cornfield races, and they do all this and do all that, and they brag on Facebook about how they turned a dog loose in the corn and it ran all night and they finished a good trip. My dogs would die. I would
Yeah.
die. Everybody would die if we
Well,
ran in the corn.
I talk to Shane about it all the time, and which Shane gives me a hard time about it, Shane Mason, because he's like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
back 5 years ago when we was pleasure hunting so hard, we'd go and hunt all morning. Dogs got to be conditioned for it. And I guess
Yeah.
there is some truth to that. I mean, there's still runners that's running every day in this.
Yeah.
My dog's not, because with my family and my kids and everything else, I don't have time to keep him out there every day. So I stick to early in the mornings or late in the afternoons for a few trees, really trying to keep him legged up because we are still competition hunting.
Yeah.
We don't start until September, October.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's different. And you talked about your dogs being able to drink out of water bottles. That's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
People don't understand how big a deal that is because, Hazel is a super hard tree dog and she's never been super bothered by the heat, but she's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
She's 9 years old. She actually turned 9 last month, but she's always been real good about drinking out of a water bottle.
Yeah.
And that, not every dog does that. Con was miserable in the heat. I couldn't get him to drink out of a water bottle. Couldn't get him to drink out of even if I carried one of them collapsible bowls and stuff, he wouldn't drink out of it because he was an idiot. But just teaching your dog that makes a big
Yeah.
difference.
Well,
Huge
now
difference.
I will say this. Sometimes he don't want to drink, and he either has two options: drown or swallow. And
Yeah, that's right.
you shove it
That's
in them
right.
lips. He's gonna drown or swallow at once. So
Well, I know our dogs teach us a lot, but every now
yeah.
and then they're just dogs.
Well,
Sometimes we know better than they do.
yeah, that a hard going dog don't want to stop to get water. They're
Right.
always thinking about the next tree. Now, one of the things I do notice, and more I think in the cur dog side of it, is like my dog, and I see a lot of dogs in the heat. If they get hot, they slow their cadence down because they don't
Yep.
want to overheat. Now, that being said, I like that. But when it happens in a competition and it don't sound like he's really locked down, I'm like, man, I don't,
Yep.
he barks enough to get you there.
Yep. And
But
that's the thing. You got to have, you got to hunt them in the heat when you're pleasure hunting just to
mm-hmm,
see what they treat like. I remember when I got Dollar. Dollar, when I got him, was just shy of a gold champion. He'd been around the world. I'd never hunted with him when it was hot. Never hunted with him when he's hot. And I bought $50 off my brother. He calls me, he goes, well, now since he's yours, go down to St. Louis and pick him up. drive him up to another hunt up in here in Iowa, and it was hot that night. And I thought, no
Yeah.
big deal. I'll run down there. I'll pick him up. I'll go hunt him. I know what the dog is. I've hunted with him a bunch. We'll be squared away. And I drive up there. We get up there. It's hot. We turn loose, and Dollar gets struck. He gets treed, and I don't tree him. He don't sound right.
Mm-hmm.
He absolutely does not sound right. I'm thinking, what on earth is? I'm thinking he's in the ground. I'm thinking there's
Yeah.
maybe another dog coming in around
Off
him or something.
game.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. And so I go in there and I don't tree the dog. Another dog
Mm-hmm.
comes in there, gets a hunter tree. I don't tree him at all. I go in there, I eat my strike minus because it was hot, and he don't tree
Yeah.
the same when it's hot. And I had never hunted him when it was above 60 degrees.
Yeah.
The dog was always a 85, 90 bark a minute tree dog, and I just assumed that's how he treat. I went up there, he has a coon, I eat minus. I'm thinking, what on earth is going on here? So a lot of that has to do with just getting your dogs out there when it's hot and hunt.
Yeah. And you know that. So if you're more cautious and you let him tree, what's the stationary in
5 minutes. It used
five
to be
minutes?
6, now it's 5. Yeah.
So ours is 3 in the organization I normally hunt in, and if you're trying to be cautious because you don't really want to jump on it, that's an extra minute, 2, 3 minutes
Yeah.
that dog has to be
Yep.
treed. The it's such a weird deal. Now I will say this: when mine goes as slow and that cadence down, we only got to stay treed for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That half stride turns into a full stride if they'll keep up.
That's right. I remember one time I was hunting an invitational hunt, and I don't walk crazy fast, whether I was in good shape or bad shape. I don't walk crazy fast.
Yeah.
My dogs are treed. It's cool. They're going to stay treed. Ain't no big deal. And I had to get to Con and get him turned loose and tree another coon one night at an invitational. And Wes Hamilton was on the cast with me. And he said that I walk about 37 miles an hour to my dog and 3.7 mile an hour at best to someone else's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that there may be some truth to that. I don't
Well,
know.
I think it's a bit of excitement,
It is.
anxiety. I think I try to walk slow, and I'm long legged. I still walk faster than most people,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man. And now I see some people, and I've said it to people, and I'm trying not to be rude, but I'm like, if my 8-year-old daughter can walk faster than you,
Yeah.
come on, my dog has to be treed for 2 minutes. It don't say you had to be treed for 10 because it takes
Yep.
you 10 to get there.
Yep. No, I'm on my son all the time because God bless him. He walks like Moses trying to lead the Israelites out of wherever. I mean, it is just miserable watching him walk. And he was at Youth Nationals here a while back, and I stayed in the truck. He hunted. He won the cast. He had to go to Hazel at the end of the cast and stay at her tree. They called him, told him her tree didn't matter. Go ahead and go on in. You win. Good deal. He's 0.53 from the truck. I got him on my tracker. I've got the dog on my tracker. So I know they're together. I know where he's at.
Yep.
And it literally took him about 45 minutes to get back to the truck. And I had to
Wow.
watch him on that screen the whole time. And I'm just thinking, how on earth does a human being walk this slow?
Is it thick woods?
No, he was on the field edge. On a
Oh,
field
wow.
edge. But he's just
Wow.
some people walk slow.
Well,
I mean,
I
it's
figured a normal pace for me is I want to say it's about a minute every 100 yards.
yeah. I
It's the
can
normal
walk
pace.
in the woods, a normal pace, you're going to get a mile about every 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's about what I figure at. You're going to get a good mile in about every 20 minutes. In a pro sport cast, if everybody's walking hard and I'm walking hard, you're going to trim that down a little bit to the 16, 17-minute range.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not hard, but he's gawking off over here. He's calling me about every 5 minutes about how he's seen some bird fly out and it was a whippoorwill, and we don't have whippoorwills at home anymore, but here's
Yeah.
one. And I'm just like, dude, get back to the freaking truck already. We got
You
a late
know,
round to go too.
how old is he?
He's 13.
That's pretty impressive. I know grown men that don't like to go deer hunting at night.
Yeah, no, I'm very deep down, I'm real proud of him, but he's been going out at dark with his dog, since he was 9. He
Yeah.
was 9 years old the first time he begged me to go hunting one night. I'd worked all day. I didn't feel like hunting. He goes, well, let me take my squirrel dog out. He's got that half cur,
Mm-hmm.
half his dad's from a good neighborhood. And the dog does tree coons, trees a
Yep.
lot of coons. He's pretty common on squirrels, but he's a pretty good coon dog. And he took him out behind the house. And of course, it's not like when me and you were little.
Mm-hmm.
And we just went out and hoped for the best.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know where he's at. I know where his dog's at. He's got a way to communicate with me at any time he wants. But
Yep.
he's never been scared of the dark. And while he's 13, he just turned 13. And so he still hunts in the preteens. And so he's the only preteen pretty much that goes out by himself.
Yep.
I stay at the truck. Usually my daughter's in the back seat reading a book or watching the hunt or whatever. And I think that's important for kids to just get out there by themselves, be used to the dark, be used to their
Mm-hmm.
dog, and hope for the best. That way I don't get a nervous wreck listening to him and watch him, try to win a cast either.
Well, I think I don't coon hunt near like I have been in the past. I've got a buddy that I still like to go to, which tickles me. Uh, Ross Blair, he still does a good bit of pleasure hunting. He says, Cody will go with you until you quit shooting. Once we quit shooting, I'm like,
Yeah.
but
Well, you'd have
ironically
fun with me
enough,
because
I
we shoot them
understand it.
all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand it because I don't shoot a lot to my squirrel dog. But
Yeah.
like, if I'm going out there and I'm not preparing for a competition, I want to shoot.
Yeah.
You know.
Heck yeah. And the kids do too.
Oh
Speaking of
man,
kids, that's
I'll take
that's
my
90%
youngins,
of what they're out for.
no doubt. I take my youngins and they want to shoot, and which I think it helps on the dog too because it makes them keep hunting or it makes them uh, hold the tree pressure. Well, my dog be treed. I'll pull the 22 out and we'll just go to pop it off, see if you can hit that tree over there, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
I think definitely small game hunting is awesome for young kids because it ain't the be quiet, don't do that. Man, I remember my son was 2 or 3, my daughter was 6 or 7, and they was like, "Hey, can we hang on these vines?" And I said, "I don't care if you rip every vine out of every top." And I looked up, and they was about 10, 12 foot up, done climbed up these vines, and I'm over here, looking for squirrels. It's a lot of fun. They enjoy it. Try to make it fun for them.
It's kids and pups are real similar.
Yeah,
I know, and I hate comparing people to dogs. I hate it. That's one of my
yeah,
biggest pet peeves is, oh, it's my fur baby, or oh, it's
yeah.
my kid or something like that. They're not the same. But that being said, growing up, you have to make things fun for them. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care if it's a 3-month-old puppy and he's out in the woods at dark. I'm not going to get onto that pup for nothing. And I'm not going to get onto that kid for nothing. Now, but that being said, my kid's 13. He's been hunting since he was old enough to me to pack him around or him to get in the truck. It's a little different now. It's you need to take it serious. You need to pay attention to your dog. You need to
Yeah.
quit picking corn stalks and hitting your sister with them and all that stuff. And so yeah, as they get older, it's just like a pup. You progress into a point where you'd
Hmm.
start taking it a little more seriously because it's also about the dogs when they're out there too. You
Yeah.
know, when I'm hunting pups, I've said this before in the past. When I'm hunting pups, my kids won't go with me.
I
You know,
don't
I
let my kids go with me because when they get
Yeah,
outside, they start calling them back.
exactly. They make all kinds of racket. They're opening doors, they're shutting doors, they're fighting, they're doing whatever kids do, and that pup is confused. He don't know what's going on. They're making noise. And so yeah, when I'm hunting a pup, I'll load the dogs up and kids say, "Are we going tonight?" I say, "Well, I'm hunting a pup." And then Jason will say, "I ain't going," and Creel say, "Nope, me neither."
Yeah. Pups, or when I'm getting ready for a competition. If I'm getting ready for a
Yeah.
competition, they're over there fighting and arguing. I'm trying to listen to the dog and that, or pups, like they're over there petting the dog, and I'm like, get,
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
want the damn thing to leave.
Yeah.
Don't keep petting
Pup
it.
come in pup come in and jump on them and they're over there rubbing
Yeah,
its ears while you
yeah,
ain't looking yet.
yeah. Go on. I don't want this dog
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah, that's right. So speaking of competition, and you were
Hmm.
talking about how yours fire up in September. the squirrel dog and the coonhounds are they got so much similarities,
Very.
but they got a lot of differences too.
Yeah.
And we really blew it on the Elite Handler Series Squirrel Dog events this year because we were trying to get them in before the leaves come on,
Mm-hmm.
and we just did not have time to do it. But with the Squirrel Dog events, you say they start in September. What's that like in September, especially in the South?
Well, I'll say this past September, first round of the first hunt I held, I think I come in third or fourth. Anyways, I think I come in third. The first round, my dog made 4 trees. Two of them, I could see the squirrel with the thermal, but I could not. You got to still see it with the eyes, or
Right.
you got to see the squirrel with your eyes. Couldn't puss them up. I just luckily got by with 400 circle.
Yeah.
It's hit or miss. To be honest, if there's a lot of circling up going on, and if people want to, they can be just plumb buttholes, because if you just kind of glance and you thought you see something, even though you know it's a squirrel, like, man, that might have been a bird. I didn't see a
Yeah.
squirrel. And it takes the majority of the cast,
Yeah.
unless you have a non-hunting judge. And
Yeah.
most of the time, we don't have non-hunting judges unless it's the final round or something like that. But
You don't have non-hunting judges in semifinals?
yes, so well, yes and no. If there's somebody local that'll stay, yes. But
Right.
most people, it's hard to find pockets of areas where there's a bunch of local squirrel hunters. Well, and I'm kind of, I guess, subject to it too. If I drive 3.5 hours to South Mississippi or to Tennessee or to Arkansas and I get put out the first round, I'm like, it's 10 a.m. I can be at home by
Yeah.
1 and then spend the rest of the afternoon with my family. I don't really
Right.
want to stay and judge 2 more rounds, because you're going 2 more rounds. I mean, you get done at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's 6 o'clock where I had all
Right.
afternoon. I guess that is one side of coon hunting. I mean, most of the time your family's already asleep.
Nah, we got the same problem. If it's at the Youth World or Super Stakes World Hunt, something like that, those guys that lose on Thursday and they don't double up, they go
Mm-hmm.
home.
Yeah.
They can get done with the early round at 11 p.m. midnight. They can drive home, be there by 3 or 4 a.m. If they're close, they
Mm-hmm.
don't stick around.
Yeah.
They don't, and it's a big issue, and a lot of it is judge pay. Um, it used to be in the PKC World Hunt, if you made a late round, you had a non-hunting judge,
Mm-hmm.
and them guys that lost early would stay at either the satellite club or the main club, and they would judge the late round. And it'd paid $100. And $100 is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
15 years ago, it's not a big deal now.
I'd pay you a
You
hundred
know,
not
it,
to judge it.
yeah, no kidding. I'd pay somebody $100 to judge for me.
So,
Then they'd make
so
200.
So you're telling me I can be at home at 1 p.m. and spend the rest of the afternoon with my family and go to the river? We can, or
Yeah,
we can watch football, college
yeah.
football,
Or
drink a few
just spend
cold
time
beer.
with your
Yeah.
kids. Yeah, I mean, $100 ain't gonna keep me from spending time with my kids.
What I'm saying is if I'm not hunting, I've got a daughter and a boy that's on my hip. I mean, we're
Yep,
doing playing in the yard, whatever. So yeah, if I'm watching football, I probably can't hear the TV because of them.
yep,
So,
yep.
but yeah, I'd pay somebody 100 not to have to judge if you
Yeah,
we're getting down to it.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's going to be to the point. And now you look at, the PKC World Hunt where it's non-hunting judges or hunting judges all the way up to the semifinals,
Mm-hmm.
and it creates some issues. It's a problem. I've always said that a non-hunting judge that is good is great.
Mm-hmm.
But a non-hunting judge that is not good, you'd rather have a hunting judge. And so it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But still, I've got into some bad situations with hunting judges, and I'm not a fan of them. As you get late into a major event, but people got to stay. And I don't blame them
Yeah.
for not staying. but also if we paid them, you know, say you get
Well,
$300 a round to judge, or you get a free entry the next night if you're judging that late round, that's a big deal.
I think the
That's different.
entry thing would be more productive because if they're staying and you're telling them that they get if they judge one night they get a free entry the next
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. If I drive all the way to a satellite club and I lose in the early round, if they say, "Hey, I'll pay tomorrow night's entry," which is usually $300, at a major event or
Mm-hmm.
close to it. If you stay and judge an extra it's going to take 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's pretty good money. $100 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
Well, we're following y'all in y'all's footsteps. So whatever y'all do, it'll be a few years and we do. And
Yeah.
I say that I wish that there was the money in the squirrel dogs that there is in coon dogs. But the downfall is I'm gonna be honest, I'm not going out here and spending $6,500 on the entry. I mean, I'm shying away from $1,000 entries in squirrel hunts just because all you
Yeah.
get guaranteed is one 90-minute cast.
Yeah. And I think that's coming in the squirrel dogs. I think there'll be $6,500 entries that fill eventually. Um, it's not for everybody. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got to pay my entry. If it's over 2,500, someone's going to have to pay it. I'm not risking that. That's a big deal for working guys like us.
Yeah.
But that being said, that same guy that's paying that $2,500 entry will give me an extra zero on that dog that I've trained.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
that makes a big difference too.
we are seeing an uptick in the prices of dogs.
Yeah.
So, and puppies. Like a good bred cur dog puppy is going for 750. And I have even heard of some of the top fights. The pissed off pig, Ken Isley's dog. He bred a Jip, and the guy had a waiting list. They was $1,000 a piece at Win Age.
No kidding.
$1,000 a piece, and supposedly the man had a dead list of folks wanting the dogs.
You're going to have to explain to me this free pig thing.
Oh Lord! So
Because I see it every now and then, and it's hashtag free pig, and I try to keep up with the squirrel dogs, but of course I'm so busy I can't. So you're going
so
to have to give me the rundown on the free pig.
so the UTFA, which is United Treeing Feist Association, it's a
Uh-huh.
UKC organization. Uh, I don't know because I don't hunt the organization, but I can tell you what I was told by I'm gonna say somebody on the inside, Ken Isley. But anyways, he was going to the events and winning. And supposedly, now this is hearsay from the source, they didn't want him to be there no more. So they pulled his dog's papers and said that he didn't qualify and they won't let him hunt in the organization no more. So
Really?
free pig, hashtag free pig. Now, like I said, I've not been at any of them. I hunt NSD, UMCA, a little bit of OMCBA. I hadn't ventured off at the USDC's I guess the money it'd be equal to the pro sport of
Yeah.
like I would say the NSD is the PKC,
Right.
and then the USDC would be like the pro sport, and then you got cur only organizations, feist only organizations. But
What was the rationalization on his dog not being eligible?
I want to say it was either height, maybe weight. I don't know what they said, but they pulled his papers. They pulled his papers and said that he didn't qualify.
What do
They
you have
won't
to
let
do
him.
to qualify?
So that's another good question because they would not let him come and hunt, and he don't hunted and like that. I want to say that you have to be a member, and they won't let him join. Like I guess it's subject to the person the holding the hunts. I don't know. Like if I was
Really?
holding the NSD hunt and I did not want Josh Michaelis coming to my hunt, I was told that like if we have problems with him, I can say, hey, no, you cause problems, you're not allowed at my hunt. Kind of like they do to What's the guy with the ugly blue dog?
Norman.
Yeah,
Storm and Norman.
yeah. I mean, if they don't want you there, but to my knowledge, and like I said, this is very little because I have zero affiliation with any of these organizations because I don't have a feist. But like, they just would not let him come and hunt him. And I want to say he's not won the world twice over there.
Well, Norman hasn't won the world twice.
Well,
He
hell, I
hasn't
thought he
won
was
anything.
29-0 or something. I thought he was going to name the next dog Airplane 30 or something.
I think he's like 0 for 111 in actual casts, but I don't
So,
know.
so I will say this. I don't know the man, but he has got more reactions. Like, it's wild.
Yep.
He could post the sky's blue, and he is a genius. Now it might be the
Whoa,
wrong way.
whoa, whoa,
He is a
whoa.
genius
Pump the
promoter.
brakes.
He's a genius promoter in the wrong
He
direction.
is. Yeah, he is. And
Like, if he was making money off TikToks, he'd be a damn millionaire.
yeah, people are drawn to just aggravation and and I don't know what they're drawn to. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
do pretty well and I'm excited about it, but we're always doing it with an eye on promoting the sport in general, where he's got it as an eye on promoting himself. And I
Yeah.
do, he's kind of like a Jake Paul.
Yeah.
You know, he's the Jake Paul of coon hunting. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm just like, man, that dude, and I got to give him props. And then sometimes I'm just like, what a retard. You
You
know,
know,
and
people
so
are like
I,
dogs. Some are
yeah,
just dumb.
yeah, yeah, that's a fact. But you know, I drew airplane 3, hunted against him.
I
Um,
bet he beat you.
he did beat me. He beat everybody. He did treat Norman was not handling him is why he
Oh,
beat us.
yeah.
Cody Sheets was handling him, done a fantastic job. But the dog treat every coon we walked him over. You know, he didn't
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of hunt. You know, he was kind of lazy, and that was kind of his mo. And we were in thick coons, but no excuse. Dog beat me. He may have been better than the dog I was hunting. Now the dog I was hunting won like $80,000 in a truck. But
Wow.
yeah, you know, he got me that night. But that was mostly Cody. Cody done a fantastic job with that dog. And Cody's a good handler and a good dog man.
Is he buddies with
But
him?
no, he was just getting paid to hunt him.
Wow.
And
Okay.
he
Is that
hunted
dog?
him.
Is that the same airplane? However many that he's hunting now?
This he's on 4 now. This was 3. This was 4's
Oh,
daddy.
what happened to
Airplane
three? He
3,
just died.
no, Kevin Rash bought him down in Texas, and he buys just about every good blue tick there is. He
So,
bought Champ. He bought Crowder. Crowder's a pretty nice dog. He bought Airplane. He bought several good blue ticks. And so, yeah, he gave a good chunk of change for Airplane 3, but it was all off Norm's promotion. The dog hasn't won hardly anything since and still isn't. You know, he just ain't good. I mean, the bottom line is the dog ain't good enough. You know, he
yeah.
doesn't have enough motor. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have enough heart, but he
Mm-hmm.
will. The dog is good at treeing coons that you walk him over and treeing
Now,
coons off dogs.
heck, y'all have had an uptick here lately in blue ticks, ain't you? Got blueberry wine.
Yeah, well, blueberry wine's still debatable. They don't know whether he's full blue tick or not.
Well, hell, I asked Samuel Green the other day. I said, "What the hell are you hunting, a blue tick?" He said, "Well, actually, he's English."
Yeah, he is in English, and I got Sam scheduled to be on the podcast about that dog too.
Oh,
But
Sam.
there's a few good blue ticks out. You know, Crowder's a good one. Champ is a good one, which Kevin Rash owns both of those. There's some good blue ticks out there now, but
Yeah.
you know they have the same hole that a lot of the other breeds other than walkers have, and it's usually drive and motor and all that stuff. Which the walkers you can thumb through and get one with good drive and motor. You know, if
Yeah.
a dog ain't got a good enough motor and it's a walker, people will get rid of it quick, or they'll sell it to a pleasure hunter. They'll do something like that. But if it's a blue tick, they'll baby it around a little more, try to get something out of it because it's worth more. I wish I had a whole kennel full of good blue ticks out there.
Yeah. 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 It seems like the breed specific,
Yeah, it
you
is. And
know.
it's just like red bones and black and tans and all of them.
Mm-hmm. You know, and we're talking about how squirrel dogs are kind of going the way of coon dogs. Like, People would be surprised at these competition squirrel dogs. They're
Mm-hmm.
always getting, well, hang on. Most of them are getting by themselves. They're getting deep, running hard. And like it looks, I cut mine this direction until something makes him change a bigger creek, change in terrain. He's going that direction.
Yep.
And now that don't always benefit me. I
Yep.
would call it gar hold, but they wasn't on the ground at the hunt I went in May. And we turned him loose. 15 minutes, he's treed at 0.94.
Yep.
And
And
I
I
couldn't
like,
hear him.
yeah. No, I like that from a competition aspect. I love that. Pleasure hunting, it's just like coon hunting. Pleasure hunting, not so much. I told
Yeah.
my boy with his squirrel dog, and we road broke him, and I tone trained him and everything to where I didn't let that dog get over 300 or 400 yards from me. I said, "Look, I chase these coon dogs all night. I'm not chasing the squirrel dog all day." I said,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm not
Mm-hmm.
walking. I'm not walking 9/10 to some squirrel."
Yeah.
And but when I see those dogs go, I really appreciate them because
Yeah.
that's pretty special. And you're gonna get. Let me know if you guys are getting this already. You're gonna get those aren't real squirrel dogs, and
Oh, yeah.
those are comp dogs. They're not pleasure dogs, and they're miserable to hunt and all that stuff. But you could probably, I'm just willing to guess, with that same squirrel dog, fill a truck bed full of squirrels in short order. Where these guys are not treeing as many squirrels that are complaining about them going deep.
So, for instance, last year, I've got a guy that he's got a son that I'm sure he'll handle for me one day. He eat up with it. He's about my daughter's age, so he was 8. And he was toting his own shotgun. And I said, "Look, I'm gonna go by and pick you up." And we went over here on some public land. It's beat to death, but I turned my dog loose and we treed 12, knocked out 8. We walked 4 miles. Now they wasn't on
Yeah.
the ground. They were everywhere from 300 to 500 yards every tree. And when we was leaving, I've got a buddy that was coming in with 2 feist that kind of hunt around you, more of a pleasure
Yeah.
style.
Right.
And I told him, I said, "Look, I said, they ain't on the ground good." I said, "It's gonna be tough hunting." He called me that afternoon. He said, "Man, you right." He said, "My dogs didn't make a tree." Now we walked 4 miles in 2.5 hours, but
Yeah.
we treed 12. They didn't make a tree. And that's not counting the den trees he was making. I mean, you
Yeah.
can, my deal is I don't like to look at a dog. I don't want to get up and drive 30 minutes over there and it'd be a terrible day. And me turn my dog loose and him stand at my feet and say, "Well, they're not moving today. Let's go home.
Yep.
Go find me something."
Yeah. Go find frickin' something.
Yeah, I got a deal with mine. You go get treed and
Yep.
I'll come to it.
Yep. And even with my pups, I don't care if it's a deer, I don't care if it's a coyote, fox, even if you're in there a mile deep on a possum, which that's bottom of my off game protocol. Just go do something. I don't care what it is. You don't need to be right here. You need to be somewhere
Mm-hmm.
else doing
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people overlook that it's easy to rein a dog in. If
Oh
your
yeah, you
dog's
can't make them
going,
go.
no, you can't make them go, but you can rein them in. I was impressed. I went down to hunt with Shane and Jared
Yeah.
Hughes down there in Louisiana. And Shane was hunting Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
Jared was hunting them Kimmerkers. I can't remember their name, but I
Yep.
think we treed
I
10 or
think his
12
name's Bo.
squirrels. Yeah, yeah, Bo.
Mm-hmm.
I think we treat 10 or 12 squirrels that night, and I was impressed the dogs were always by themselves. Yeah,
Yep.
we walked our guts out, and I did not want to walk. I'll tell you the story
Mm-hmm.
of that. I left the Jarvis Umphers at that time. It's the Michael Moody now, but
Yeah.
the Jarvis Umphers $100,000 hunt, and I got in at daylight, and I packed all my stuff out of the Airbnb. Told my buddies bye that were staying with me. Drove up to Jared's house, and I got there in the afternoon. I'm thinking, we'll hunt an hour. We'll hunt these sorry squirrel dogs for a little bit. I'll get some of it on film. We'll do a podcast. We'll get out of here.
Yeah.
And so we hung out at Jared's house, and Shane shows up. We go hunting. We turn these dogs loose. Probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now keep in mind, I haven't slept but about 30 minutes in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And I've
Oh,
still
you
got to
that
go.
wasn't a day.
Yeah, I've still got to go to camp in East Texas. And it's probably only about 3 hours from Shane, but I've still got a 3 hour drive to my camp in East Texas. And I'm thinking we'll get this done over with, get the podcast recorded. I'll be back by dark. We
Mhm.
hunted till dark.
Oh yeah. Well, they
And
don't
we
really start
walked.
moving till an hour
No,
before dark.
we hunted our guts out. But them dogs look really good.
Mhm.
Traveler treat a bunch of or squirrels. Bo treat a bunch of squirrels. They were split every time. Sometimes they'd be 50 yards apart. Sometimes they'd be 300 or 400 yards apart. Had a great hunt, really good
Yeah.
hunt with really good dogs. And I'm glad that I was exhausted during all this and wanted to go home because I'd have thought, I'm going to buy a pup off Traveler. I'm going to buy a pup off Bo and I'm going to have a bunch of squirrel dogs. If I'm healthy right now, if I'm feeling good, I'm going to have a
Yeah.
whole kennel full of squirrel dogs.
You know, yeah, and nowadays the really and truly the money side of it is people getting pups, getting them started, and
Yeah.
you can sell started dogs or really. I've seen really really nice dogs, young dogs go for $5, $6, $7,000.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, a
Yeah,
lot of people.
that's where the money's at in the coonhounds right now too. I mean, I know there's the top tier handlers and there's only maybe 20 of those guys. And
Mhm.
they're making some money. But past those 20, a guy can make a good living starting 5 or 6 pups a year and selling them for 10, 12, 15,000 or even better, especially when you're doing it, like we are, where we're working and hunting both.
Mhm.
It's a very good income, coming
Oh,
on the
for
backside.
sure, for sure. I meet up with Travel Ball right now. Both kids are. My daughter just got off her first year, and now both of them are playing. And I have very little time. I have to squeeze 15 to 30 minutes in between,
Yeah.
just because I'm trying to get the puppy in the woods. Now,
Yeah.
I hadn't really tried to get her started treeing yet because once I get her treeing, I'm gonna have to take her a lot. So I'm
Right.
trying to wait more towards
Yeah.
October.
Yep. Been there. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a wild time, really and truly everybody is upset about how much they cost, but the amount of time you had to take them sung us to the woods to get them going for good, I get it.
You're just now at the point of breaking even or a little better,
Yeah.
because we're gonna hunt. That's the thing is we're
Mhm.
gonna go hunt, with kids and travel ball and work and all that stuff. We're still gonna go hunt.
Oh
But
yeah.
at least now we can get some return on our investment, out of our hobby, which is a big deal.
Yeah. My problem is I either won't sell them or they're culls. I
Yeah.
don't want to say culls. They don't suit me, so I move them down. I move them to somebody that's more interested in 'em.
That's the problem with me is sometimes I'll take a dog that's probably worth 3, 4, $5,000 and I'll sell it for, I'll trade it for a used smartphone or something just because I don't want to have to feed it no more because it won't suit me.
Well, I've got a couple used smartphones laying around. You like Android or iPhone?
It don't matter. I'll just turn them into that little Walmart thing, which I've never done before, but I
Uh,
might try that. But
uh,
yeah, it's just a deal where the value is placed on them differently because
yeah.
the best value on a coonhound right now is a dog that I've raised.
Hmm.
Because by the time they're a year old, I'm done wore out with that dog. I've
Hmm.
looked at every single fault and every bad thing that dog has ever done. And that's when a buyer calls me, that's what I tell them. I don't tell them the dog will tree a coon just about every time he's turning it loose.
Hmm.
It's always the holes that I mention. But on the backside of that, everybody knows that about me now. And so
Yeah.
when I put up a dog for sale, it's gone, just like that. It doesn't take long to get rid of a pup or even a dog that's, in the 5, 6 digits. It's or 4 or 5 digits, I guess. I ain't sold one in the 6 digits yet. But
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
they're easy to get rid of because people realize that about me. And so, I guess it works out both ways.
Well, I got a couple buddies still likes coon hunt, and I like to go every once in a while. So when you get one of them $5,000 or $6,000 ones, you reel and trade for a couple smartphones. I
Ah,
want to be the first
you just
telephone call.
You just wait. You wait till Honey Bun sees this, because I've had all kinds of pups that I've raised. He goes, "Yeah, you'll give that thing away for a bucket of dog food here before long."
Well, I know a man that works at Joy. I can help you out.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, Cody, we've been at it a while. I appreciate you being on here. We're going to make a habit of this, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I enjoy
We're
it.
gonna the EHS and the squirrel dog stuff is coming up. You know, we really missed the boat. We come out with our top 10 list, and I've been talking to some of them hunters and stuff. Um, we love the squirrel dog stuff, especially from a videography standpoint. You know, it's easier to film. Daylight's way easier than dark, no matter what you're filming. And the dogs are great. And these dog guys, you know, you look at our top 10 list and it's a stacked list. These dog guys are great too. And so we want to make sure and get them out there. So you're going to be a big part of that coming up. You're going to be a big part of the Fueled by Joy Working Dog podcast. Of course, you got your guys' podcast. So go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, what your
Well,
podcast name, all that stuff.
you know, I'm kind of dumb. I'm on 2 podcasts and have a YouTube channel, but
There you go.
we run Deer Dogs on Outdoors in Moreland on YouTube. I heard you talk about that on the other day on
Mm-hmm.
the podcast. We my buddies I grew up with. We run Deer Dogs
Yep.
over here on a private club, and I try to I video the politically correct content, you know, and we put all that on there. And I'm on. Me and Chris Knight started the Hunting Dog Public podcast.
Yep.
It's a lot of squirrel hunting. We do have some coon hunting on there, but I found that, and I hate to say this, but I tried to do the coon hunting side of it, and I didn't really have a great success at it because coon hunters want to hear coon hunters interviewing coon hunters.
Right.
Now, that being said, I've also seen that we do really good on the squirrel hunting side because Chris and I, Miles Miller, and now Jeremy Garner just started, but we're going to hunts. I mean,
Yep.
we're going to squirrel hunts. So we get a little more of the credibility because we're going to the hunts.
Yep.
But that's kind of our lane with the Hunting Dog Public. And then me and Shane Mason have a podcast called Plussed Up Podcast. And usually I was to hear anything from man, I
It's
ain't no
one of my
telling.
favorites.
Ain't,
Yeah,
ain't
it's
no
one of my
telling what
favorites.
lives come out of Shane's mouth. I'm
Yeah.
normally the more politically correct one.
Yeah.
But
No,
Shane,
I'm gonna get you and Shane on the next one. And Chris. What I'd like to do is all four of you, or all three of you, all four of us, get on the next one. I think that'd be good.
oh yeah, Lord, ain't no telling what you lives to hear.
Oh, Shane's a character. Shane's fun to hunt with though.
Man,
He's a
Shane's a ball.
blast. Yeah.
There's never a dull moment.
No, no. I agree.
So
And we'll get you all back on here. We're gonna make a habit out of this. I know uh Joy does a lot for all these podcasts and all this media stuff, and I think it's good for everybody to just get together under
yeah.
one umbrella. Just that, not all the time, but every now and then, and just talk dogs. I think it's fun.
Now there is one thing I do want to say. You don't get enough credit for talking by yourself because I'm going to tell you, there's no way I could talk for 30 to 40 minutes by myself. Man, you
I don't
staring
know
at a
if that.
screen and you know, you're probably like, man, it probably was terrible, but because you're always criticizing yourself. But I'm gonna be honest, dude, it's tough to sit here and talk to yourself.
It is terrible. I don't care what you say, and it is hard to talk to myself. And the bad thing is, a lot of people think I like it, and that's the sad part because I freaking hate it.
Well, I talk to myself in my head too much. I don't need to be
Yeah,
talking
I
to
do. I
myself on
do that quite
screen.
a bit. I get it quite. Sometimes I got to talk to somebody intelligent, so I got to talk to myself.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Like pups, like pups.
That's right. That's right. But all right, I appreciate you, Cody. We're gonna wrap this up. It is Tree Dog Tuesday, and you guys follow Cody everywhere you can find him. Hunting Dog Public, YouTube, all that good stuff, and you're gonna see Cody a lot more here in the coming months, and maybe in the EHS stuff, we're gonna get Cody's gonna be a big part of that. we're gonna get all that lined up as soon as the leaves drop, and we're ready to roll with that. So thanks a bunch, Cody.
Yes, sir. I enjoyed it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Now I gotta find that record button. There it is.